Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another thrilling installment in the AI-only campaigns run by yours truly, Varenity Void. We're here with Campaign 12, Ill Omens, where the premise of this entire campaign is the base modifiers of your religion that you choose are no longer positive, they are negative. So, before I get into the parts of this prologue, let us take a look. Catholicism no longer has positive modifiers. Orthodoxy no longer has positive modifiers. Same thing with stuff like Zoroastrianism, no longer has positive modifiers, and same thing with Islam. So, with that base premise being said, I should also add in that the sub-modifiers are still positive. So, the gods that are able to be chosen through the Kemetic religion, the deities that are able to be chosen through the Norse religion, those are still positive. The karma modifiers from Buddhism, those are still positive. But the base modifiers are now negative. Without further ado, let us start reading some national ideas because we have a lot to get through. This first part of the prologue is probably going to be the most packed. So, without further ado, let's just jump into it. I'm gonna do my submissions first. However, two of my submissions are the same ones from last campaign, Armina and Yaman. So I won't read the first two of those. If you want to know the national ideas for those, like the first two national ideas, you can go watch the prologue from the very last campaign, Campaign 11, and hear about those. Instead, I'm going to go with my newer submission, the Rustamids. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. The traditions of the Rustamids are advisor costs minus 15% and religious unity plus 25%. The first national idea is Legacy of the Old Rebellions. Our interpretation of Islam follows the traditions and ideas set forth by Abdallah ibn Abbad and further developed under Jabir ibn Zayd. Though we are a relatively small sect of Islam compared to the other movements that dominate the political and religious landscape of North Africa, the Levant, Arabia, and Iran, our efforts for an independent state in the face of great opposition never wavered. Time and time again against the Abbasid Caliphate, the Abbasid Caliphate tried to stomp out our movement in North Africa, yet here we remain with scars to prove our worth. Yearly army tradition decay minus 1%. The second national idea is treat each tribe equally. If there was one aspect from our founders that gained the fealty of the Amazigh people as they were introduced to Islam, it was the fact that the descendants of Abd ar-Rahman ibn Rustam were not of any local tribe. This fact made them more impartial and inclined toward treating each tribe equally, meaning we should be striving to keep this practice going. We will always respect the Amazigh people and their powerful influence across the land, yet we will continue to treat them all on an equal playing field. Stability cost modifier minus 10%. So, the Rustamids only won in North Africa this time around, and they are a Barbary. Oh no, they aren't actually. They're a feudal theocracy. I forgot I gave them feudal theocracy. And so they're not going to be raiding nearly as much, if at all. They're just going to be chilling out in North Africa. My other two submissions are the Saidi, right over here. The traditions of Saidi are construction costs minus 10% and national tax modifier plus 10%. The first national idea is Moroccan, Amazigh, and Andalusian. Bold and noble explorers most of our people are, but we cannot deny that there are quite a few undisciplined and indulgent people that are in our ranks. Regardless of their personalities, however, our branch of the Saidi dynasty will put every single sailor and soldier to work. As wonderful as these new territories we control are, there is the danger that disease, storms, or some foreign invader could strike us down if we are not prepared. Attrition for enemies +1. The second national idea is follow and control trade routes. The trade routes in this new land are far different from the trade routes back home. Here, several trade routes go through oceanic routes and through various rivers nearby, meaning that we will need active villages and towns to exert mercantile influence. In time, the profits from these trade routes will bolster our treasury and help fund new exploration and military expeditions both near and far. Global trade power +10%, global settler increase +10. So, the Saidi, not nearly as militaristic as some other tags, and they are mostly set for the Caribbean. My last tag that I will be doing, or that I submitted, is Galicia Grande. The traditions of Galicia Grande are land maintenance modifier -10% and naval maintenance modifier -10%. The first national idea is the Great Escape. The Iberian Peninsula was a chaotic mess of noble disputes, shifting crowns, and consistent unrest that was breaking down any semblance of cooperation between the ruling classes. Galician, Leonese, Portuguese, and even Castilian authorities struggled to hold on to power, yet we only know of one successful escape from the chaotic mess. With our banners still intact and our people willing to continue the legacy of Galicia in the new land, we will forge ourselves a new destiny here. Tolerance of the true faith +2. The second national idea is negotiations with those of Santiago. The Order of Santiago has done more for us than the other orders ever could. Those of Calatrava, Montesa, and Alcantara were concerned with their own dealings with other crowns, but those of Santiago maintained healthy relations with the old royalty of Galicia, and subsequently had some of their members escape with us to this new land. Their influence in our own politics is well known, and their military prowess is what helps keep us alive. Though the lack of as many military resources around means that training order members takes longer. Yearly army tradition plus 0.5, recruitment time +20%, and fort defense +15%. So, overall, it takes longer to recruit soldiers in Galicia Grande, but they have a higher quality army and can defend for a longer period of time. Their Saidi is not really going to have any issues expanding, but the main contention for Galicia Grande is going to be Marajo. We will see what happens in due time between them. The next submissions are from the Cyan Menace. I'm gonna do his America's submission first, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of a different order than what I have on my Excel sheet, because from what I recall, he and Mackie wanted a certain order done, so I'm gonna try and chain all of their themed submissions together. Okay, let me see. So we'll do Paradox first. So this is the successor, essentially, to Yayoi's old Paradox submissions. And the traditions of Paradox this time around are goods produced +20%, and the goods produced modifier +20%, and then goods produced flat +2. The first national idea is national tax modifier +20%. The second national idea is yearly inflation reduction +0.05. And then the third national idea is stability cost modifier -5%. So really working with that mentality of Paradox printing money from all the DLCs they push out for their various games. I'm looking at you, Hearts of Iron 4, Stellaris, Crusader Kings 3, Europa Universalis 4, and of course Crusader Kings 2 back then. Okay, so with Paradox out of the way, we're gonna go over to the Thunderdome that they made. So the Cyan Menace made a Thunderdome of teams from a certain YouTube series. I don't know what this series is, but we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna go from left to right. So the first one I have on here is Are You Okay? The traditions of Are You Okay are Land Leader Maneuver, +1, and Innovativeness Gain, +50%. The first national idea is Golf Ball. Golf Ball happens to be one of, if not the smartest, out of all of the contestants, and she uses her intelligence to formulate plans and strategies, create devices and inventions, understand and decipher things that may seem complicated or unfamiliar to her, and would combine her intelligence with tennis ball when they're together. While she is well prepared when it comes to challenges, her plans still fall short, as seen in some episodes when she leads a team. She often lacks a backup plan in case another problem occurs and could lose a challenge, and due to her self-proclaimed status as team leader, would clash with other contestants that happen to disagree with her, which would almost cost them the win at times. Despite her bold personality, Golf Ball truly cares about her team's well-being and only wants to lead them to a great victory. Technology cost -10%, discipline +5%. The second national idea is Tennis Ball. Alongside Golf Ball, Tennis Ball is one of the most intelligent contestants, but unlike her, his intelligence is more based on logic and reason instead of pure mathematics. He frequently assists Golf Ball in formulating plans and strategies. In addition, he seems to have a knack for inventing devices. Tennis Ball comes across as a character who values accuracy and is resourceful in challenging situations, and is also supportive of his teammates, showing a mix of practicality and empathy. His mistakes, while minor, humanize him and make him more relatable. His role in fixing and using the trebuchet in "You know those buttons don't do anything, right?" indicates his importance to the team, as he is the one providing a tool necessary for their success in the challenge. Even though the plan doesn't work as intended, flinging the team back and forth, his efforts ultimately contribute to the team's victory. Idea cost +10% and siege ability +10%. So very strong national ideas first off here. In fact, these are very, very strong. Interesting, Mr. Cyan Menace. Interesting. I may have to talk to you later on about stacking modifiers like this. Powerful ones. The next submission here is Death Pact Again. Okay. So, I don't know... Again, I don't know what YouTube series this is from, but, you know... Let me take a sip of my drink here from Gamerseps, and then I'll get back to this. Okay, it tastes like a pink Starburst. So, Death Pact Again, the traditions are shock damage received -10%, and stability hit to declare wars +1. Okay. The first national idea is Black Hole. He values life more than anything. He would stop himself from killing others, even if it meant his team would be at a disadvantage. This is most prominent in The Worst Day of Black Hole's life, where Pen and Teardrop put themselves in Black Hole's way, only for him to stop stealing their blocks so that he does not kill them. This is also a lot more prominent in Outbreak at Stake, as he denounces the idea of killing Barfbag to bring her back to life, despite it being the easiest solution, and insists on using the lava barf method, which causes the outbreak to happen. Black Hole generates a strong gravitational force that can pull anything near him. However, he's gained control of this ability and is capable of pulling things without absorbing them. He also can use this power to give others a boost upwards to higher areas, as shown in BFB 11 and BFB 15. Diplomatic reputation +1, movement speed +15%. The second national idea is Marker. He is shown to be extremely loyal to his team and is determined to help them out in any way possible, as shown in Gardening Zero. Oh, excuse me. Where even after he's set on fire, he crawls his way toward his bracelet to save Ice Cube to properly preserve his team's mantra of preventing death. Guys, you're both right. We can prevent death and win challenges. Just stop fighting. Improve relations plus 27.6%. Morale damage received minus 7.5%. I have a feeling Death Pact is not going to declare any fucking wars. That's just my inclination, because that stability hit to declare wars is brutal. It is very brutal. I don't think the AI is really going to be content to declare wars. That's just my feeling. Actually, hold on. Let me check something on Discord. What's it called? Okay. It was someone asking me about something related to the submissions and reading them off, but got it sorted out. Alright, so this here is another one from the Cyan Menace. This is Teammates. So, Teammates has a Land Leader Shock +1 in the traditions alongside Leaders Without Upkeep +2. The first national idea is Pin. As of What's Up, Bellstring, Pin returns to her role as a heroic team leader, but unlike her BFDI counterpart, she maintains better relationships with her teammates. She ensures that everyone on her team has a role to play, which helps them secure first place. Her transition from a mean-spirited, self-serving leader to a more inclusive and effective one shows growth in her leadership abilities. She has learned to manage her team more constructively, ensuring that everyone has a role and contributing to the team's success. Morale of armies +10%, improved relations +20%. The second national idea of Teammates is Donut. How can a donut be cherry-filled yet have a hole? That question has always perplexed Donut. Although he is sometimes seen by others as stubborn, he's really not. He is a very responsible donut and always wants to make sure things go according to plan. Donut knows he is not popular. He deals with this as best he can. He is very skilled at giving motivational speeches to his teammates. Donut's role in the season reveals his strengths as a quick thinker and a leader who earns his team's approval through proactive actions, most notably in What's Up, Bellstring? His appointment as leader, despite Golf Ball's initial desire for the role, signifies a notable shift in team dynamics. The team's collective choice of Donut over Golf Ball indicates that Donut is viewed more favorably as a leader. This preference may stem from Donut's perceived fairness and approachability. Yearly legitimacy +1.5, morale recovery speed +10%. And teammates are off in the southwest corner over here. The next one is Team Just Not. The traditions of Just Not, advisor cost -10% and morale damage +10%. The first national idea of Just Not is Price Tag. Price Tag has been shown to be impressionable, such as in, you know those buttons don't do anything, right? When 2 ask them if they equal 1... Wait, what? When 2 ask them if they equal 1 and responding, I can if you want me to. As well as in The Worst Day of Black Hole's Life, when they at first opted to help Nickel and Cake defend their stack until seeing Pillow walk away, immediately deciding to tag along with her and quickly adapting to her behavior. Price Tag seems to also be very big on money. This is seen in the 7 Wonders of Goiki. They led their team by showing them how to trade certain goods for other things of higher or lower value. They also seem to say a lot of money-related things, such as cha-ching, or saying to Donut when they're gonna see him in the bargain bin. Trade efficiency +17.5%, and diplomatic reputation plus 1%. The second national idea of Just Not is Book. Book demonstrates her ability to grow and change and work toward becoming a better person. In the pilot episode, you know those buttons don't do anything, right? She attempts to team with Gaddy and Saw, but they decline, with Gaddy suggesting she make new friends, period. Respecting Gaddy's decision, Book eventually joins Just Not, where she meets Price Tag. In Onirophobe's nightmare, their friendship deepens as Book opens up to Price Tag, spending time getting to know each other. This shows her willingness to form genuine connections, revealing a different aspect of her character. Book is many books all at once. She's a dictionary, a journal, a There's two hand-powered here. A hand-powered recovery center creator, user manual, and a guidebook for IDFB. Technology cost minus 7.5% and improved relations plus 10%. Okay. I feel so out of the loop with these. It's a little odd. Anyways, the next one is the S. Oh my god. Let me stretch because, jeez, the way my shit is set up, because if it's not already obvious, I am in a different setup. I am a little bit more echoey. That is because of the different setup. I am no longer in an enclosed in a very open environment. I am now in a closed environment, and there's not that much stuff around me, so my voice echoes a little bit more. However, there's more privacy in here, and I can speak a little bit more loudly without anyone waking up or anything like that. So I very much enjoy this setup. The traditions of the S are land fire damage plus 10% and governing cost minus 27.6%. The first national idea is Winner. Way back at the start of Loser's career, Winner and Loser were a duo. They performed together, toured together, ate chicken nuggets together. At some point, Loser went solo and hit the mainstream. But Winner? Well, they just faded into obscurity. But only a true Loser fan would know that. In Category 1, Winner was only charred with a flamethrower instead of being killed. They only frowned and said the action itself was not very nice, implying it didn't hurt that much either. Additionally, in I Said Careful, Winner fell in lava when the volcano bridge broke, but survived, unlike the other contestants, albeit severely burned. They could also swim in lava without getting burned to death. Prestige decay minus 1% and fire damage received minus 10%. The second national idea is Yellowface. Yellowface's warehouse is a location in Battle for BFB and Battle for Dream Island, The Power of Two. The location is owned by Yellowface Inc., and it supposedly contains over 1 million products inside. Commercials, also known as advertisements, are running gags and are mostly introduced by Yellowface. Yellowface is usually the only character during these commercials, except during Non-Slip Shoes Soha commercial. Global trade power plus 12.5%. Global goods produced modifier plus 12.5%. Alright. And finally, the last submission from the Cyan Menace, the strongest team on Earth. Uh-oh. Let me check something real quick. Something happened. Something bad happened, because there should be two traditions there unless he genuinely forgot to put down the national ideas. Strongest team on Earth. Where's the national? Oh, okay. So one of the traditions for the strongest team on Earth is shock damage plus 10%. The other one is supposed to be that they are able to study technology of different nations around them if they're behind, I believe. So I'm not sure if that's allowed in national ideas. Maybe it is. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know. It may or may not work. I assumed it would, but I mean it's too late now. We'll roll with it. We will roll with it. But even if it didn't work, or even if it did work, I'm not sure how useful it would be, because for the most part they're going to be on the same tech level as almost everyone else around them. So, I'm not sure. All right. The first national idea of the strongest team on Earth is Grassy. In the Seven Wonders of Goiki, Grassy is able to hold a metallized, I think you mean metallicized? Metallized snowball with ease, and not long after throw him in the air at a considerable amount of height due to him training with the strength game. He can also be seen being able to break through the concrete roof of the hotel with one of his hands. Infantry combat ability plus 7.5%. Yearly army tradition plus 0.75. The second national idea is Snowball. Snowball is very proud of himself and thinks he's better than everyone. Due to his enormous physical strength, such as ripping apart neckties, he thinks people should be helpless without him. Snowball is quite physically strong and capable of picking up and throwing characters with ease, and effortlessly tearing things in half. For instance, in You Know Those Buttons Don't Do Anything Right, Snowball forcefully pries open the door of an elevator. Morale of armies plus 10%. Infantry shock plus 0.28. So a very militaristic team over here. The next one from Mackie is Teardrop. We are moving on to Mackie's submissions. And so this is the first one, and then I will go over the other ones that Mackie submitted. Let me just make sure I got this correct. Okay. So, Teardrop, their traditions are plus 5% discipline and minus 10% naval morale damage received. The first there's no descriptions for these, by the way. I just put in letters just as a filler, just so that the localization surely does not break. I had a little bit of a localization issue that I had to fix before I started this, so there's really no localization. It's just the title. The first national idea is One Drop Army. Land force limit minus 6, flat, not a percentage. And then land force limit minus 50%. And then infantry fire plus 0.7. The second national idea is An Intense Rivalry. Morale of armies plus 15%. And the third national idea is Teardrop Family Reunion. National manpower modifier plus 27.6%. So, yeah, this is this force limit's going to go down a lot once that first national idea is unlocked. Just saying. All right, so Mackie's other submissions, he's bringing with him some more Tibetan tags. So, the first one here is Golok. Golok here has, in the traditions, stability cost modifier minus 10%, and attrition for enemies plus 1. The first national idea is Golok Fighters. The Golok were renowned in both Tibet and China as ferocious fighters. Legends say they were ruled by a queen, a reincarnated goddess whose power was handed down from mother to daughter. May recruit female generals, and shock damage plus 10%. The second national idea is Rebellious People. The name Golok is even sometimes interpreted as meaning rebellious, and neither Tibet or China are able to subdue us for long. Us Golog sought to remain ungoverned by any polity, not Tibet, not Qing China, no one. We Golog have from time immemorial obeyed none but our own laws. One of our folk songs says, "Against the orders of the Dharma King of Tibet I rebel. Against China, I rebel. We make our own laws. Morale of armies plus 15%. So, if Golok survives long enough to get that second national idea, they will be A-okay, I think. We'll see. They also got to make some good alliances, too, because they have competition in the form of Yargab. The traditions of Yargab are yearly legitimacy plus 1 and administrative technology costs minus 10%. The first national idea of Yargab are descendants of Thonmi Sambota. Our dynasty traces its roots back to Songtsen Gampo's famous minister Thonmi Sambota, remembered for inventing the Tibetan script and being the first Tibetan to have the title of translator. The paternal line of the Yargyab Pa The paternal line of the Yargyab Pa back to the legendary inventor of the Tibetan script can be reconstructed in our genealogical sketches. To this day, his legacy of scholarship is cherished. Institution spread plus 20%, yearly innovativeness plus 0.1. The second national idea of Yargyab is ties with the Phagmodrupas. The ties between our house and the Phagmodrupas run deep. Their rulers often resided in our Zong of Gongar, and our forefathers were closely associated with the Nedong rulers from the founding of their dynasty. Diplomatic reputation plus 1. So not nearly as militaristic. They are more diplomatic oriented. I'm hoping that Yargyab can actually do a little something here in the Tibetan plateau. The next submission from Mackie is Sakya, one of the schools of Tibetan Buddhism. The traditions of Sakya are diplomatic reputation plus 1 and yearly karma decay plus 0.01. The first national idea is the Okay. This is correct. I looked a little familiar, and so I wanted to make sure that nothing happened out of the ordinary. Anyways, the Pale Earth or Sakya school of Vajrayana Buddhism derives its name from the unique gray landscape of Ponpori Hills in southern Tibet near Shigatse, where Sakya Monastery, the first monastery of this tradition, was built by Kongchog Gyalpo in 1073. The Sakya tradition was founded in the late 11th century by Drogmi, a famous scholar and translator who had studied in Vikramashila University in India. This school is known for its studious and academic bent, and its colleges produce Tibet's most inquisitive minds. Idea costs minus 10%. The second national idea is Sakya Library. Sakya Monastery houses a huge library of as many as 84,000 books on traditional stacks of 60-meter long and 10-meter high. Most of them are Buddhist scriptures, although they also include works of literature, history, philosophy, astronomy, mathematics, agriculture, and art. Some volumes may be untouched for hundreds of years. One scripture weighs more than 500 kilograms, the heaviest in the world. The collection also includes many volumes of palm leaf manuscripts, which are well preserved due to the region's arid climate. Technology cost minus 5%. Cost of advisors with rulers' religion minus 10%. So again, another more administrative, diplomatic oriented Tibetan tag. However, I believe Sakya is the largest in terms of like province count out of the Tibetan tags this time. So we will see if they're able to leverage that increased provincial power. The last Tibetan submission from Mackie is Lato Lo. The traditions of Lato Lo are fort defense plus 15% and religious unity plus 20%. The first national idea is alliances and marriages. We have traditionally kept strong friendships with our neighbors, such as Gongthang and the brotherhood between Latojang and Lo, as well as to the other major powers that came and went. We garner these friends by sending them gifts and marriages, ensuring diplomatic stability in our kingdom. Diplomats +1. The second national idea is wearer of the woolen turbans. Although we patronize the Buddhist faiths like many of our neighbors, we do not neglect the traditional beliefs of our ancestors. Let us employ Bonpo priests in our court and keep many of their beliefs and customs. Tolerance of heretics +1. Cost of advisors with rulers' religion -10%. And remember, we're also getting some negatives from their religion. But the secondary karma mechanic, that is staying positive. The last submission from Maki is over here, Tawira Zia. I'm not sure what Tawira Zia is based off of, but we're gonna read them out. The traditions of Tawira are production efficiency +15%, and yearly army tradition decay -1.5%. The first national idea of Tawira Zia is Tepalaka warriors. The Tepala clan was the host of the best hill warriors of the land. Amidst the land known for their martial prowess, the Tepalaka stood above them all. We have become so infamous that now it is deemed unwise to duel with the Tepalaka. Infantry combat ability +15%. The second national idea is the land of 100 deities. In hill country, every valley worshipped their own patron god in the past. When the land was divided politically as well as physically, as we have unified the hills of Ieta, the only way to maintain control is to not disrupt traditions. Religious unity +30%. You know what? While we're here, I'm gonna go check something. Because this is a nation designer submission. And okay. I just wanted to check something. The next submission we've got, I think we can do like one more set of full submissions because there's so many to get through, or maybe we'll do two. We're going from Viri V's submissions here in the Thunderdome. Damn right, we're going into the British Isles. So, here we have Fortru. The traditions of Fortru are national tax modifier +15%, envoy travel time -10%. The first national idea is the fortress people. Our name may have come from the Brythonic word Vertura, meaning fortress. Given our position in the harsh, cold north of Albion, this descriptor is apt at describing how hard invaders have it when trying to subdue Pictland. Fort defense +20%. The second national idea is Verturian hegemony. The petty kings of Pictland have fought for too long. Now we have cemented ourselves as the premier Pictish polity, with 42 kings being kings of all Picts. Uniting the Picts shall mark the start of our hegemony in the north. Land force limit +30%. If they get to those national ideas, it is going to be a very tough time taking down 42. The second national idea, or the second submission from Viri V is Strathclyde, also known as the Kingdom of Alt Clut. The traditions of I'm going to call it Strathclyde. I need to stick to that. Our yearly army tradition +1.5 and diplomatic reputation +2. The first national idea is Men of the North. The Brythonic people of Hen Ogledd have experienced the most hardship after the end of Roman Britannia. Gales to the west, Picts to the north, and Angles to the east all wish to carve up the Old North. Let us live up to Gododin and fight for what's ours. Some of the Brythonic names they give me trouble. Morale of armies plus 15%. The second national idea is miracles of Kentingern. Here is the bird that never flew. Here is the tree that never grew. Here is the bell that never sang. Here is the fish that never swam. Missionary strength plus 2%. So it's gonna be rather interesting seeing how all of these submissions jive together. The next submission from Virivi is Gwynedd. I think I can't speak Welsh. I'm not familiar with the language all that much. All I know is that it's a cool sounding language. You know, I may take some heat for saying that, but I think far be it from me to judge other languages. I just think Welsh pretty cool. The traditions of Gwynedd are infantry combat ability plus 20% and unjustified demands minus 30%. The first national idea is Roman legacy. While most of our neighbors have abandoned the Roman ways, our inhabitants remain in touch with their Romano-British heritage, with the Latin tongue and Roman ancestors holding vast prestige, as well as As much as such, we are essentially the final portion of Roman Britannia. Prestige decay minus 1.5%. The second national idea is fighting for survival. In the anarchy that surrounds us, many petty kings fight over dominion over the Brythonic lands. If we want our lineage to be remembered, we must be victors. Reverting to tribal ways makes our people hardier and more martial, ensuring our survival. Discipline plus 5%. So Gwynedd is definitely going to be a heavy contender for military dominance. The last one over here is Dumnonia. The traditions of Dumnonia are production efficiency plus 15% and naval force limit plus 22.5%. The first national idea is across the channel. Even in antiquity, the Dumnonians' ties are to the lands of Brittany, Ireland, and Wales, rather than their landward neighbors. We share a close trading and military relationship to our maritime neighbors, and to this day, it is the sea whom we look to. Excuse me. Ship trade power propagation plus 40%. The second national idea is tin mining. The tin in our peninsula has been a key resource for Dumnonians for millennia. Our mines fuel the Bronze Age, and even now, these mines are the foundation for our prosperity. Goods produced, flat, plus 2. So, Dumnonia doesn't have as much martial prowess as the other tags. However, they will be able to get around more easily to other places, I think. Like, colonize different places. But we'll see if that allows them to escape or allows them to gain more alliances. The last submission for Virivi is Dwilji. I don't know how to pronounce this. I really don't. And it's not Slavic, so I don't know. But you know, I'm just gonna go along with it. The traditions of Dwilji are national manpower modifier plus 30% and advisor cost minus 20%. The first national idea is the 12 Isavia. The 12 Isavia, named after the 12 servants of the sky and sun, act as a council to govern our territory. Their duty is to maintain order in the towns, which is an easy feat for these hand-picked administrators. National unrest minus 1. The second national idea is Oigafsh, Etegsash, and Gajich. Fervor, belief, and will. The sacred mantra of the Tavikan faith. It is by these tenets which the Domes, or believers, live by. The Domes are a class of monks who live by the sword as much as the book, and their martial skills makes them our defenders. Discipline plus 5%. What the fuck am I reading about? I have a feeling this is from a game, a series that I have no idea about. It seems like there's a lot of lore there, but I could be completely wrong, and they're playing me as in like maybe it's something that's just completely made up, and I don't know. But I was struggling with that. Felt like a Kraven submission almost. Let's see. I think we can do Akamatsu submission, and then okay, we'll do Akamatsu submission, and then we'll do Q9626's submissions. So Akamatsu only has one submission this time, and it is made with the help of ChatGPT, I believe. I have nothing against that. If ChatGPT can make a nation like this, then it's fine. I did not think that that such a program, such a tool, would be able to make something for these campaigns, but this is a product of it. This is Kuyana. The traditions of Kuyana are national tax modifier plus 10% and goods produced modifier plus 15%. The first national idea is Warrior of the Sun. Kuyana's warriors are trained from a young age, drawing strength from the sun god. On the battlefield, they are fierce and disciplined, fighting with unwavering loyalty to the nation and its people. Infantry combat ability plus 20%. A second national idea is Masters of the Trade Winds. Kuyana thrives as a hub of trade. Our merchants navigate the currents of commerce, forging strong alliances and driving economic growth that benefits both our nation and its allies. Trade efficiency plus 15%. Not exactly sure if trade winds is supposed to be literal there or metaphorical. I'm gonna opt for metaphorical. But yeah, Kuyana apparently completely generated with like ChatGPT or something. We'll see how it does. And next we have the submissions from Q9626. The first submission here is Wasconia Gascony. I'm going to take a sip of my drink as I get to this. Because, talking for like 45 minutes straight, or almost 45 minutes straight, takes a little bit out of me. Okay. The traditions of Wasconia Gascony are yearly inflation reduction plus 0.2, and then vassal force limit contribution plus 100%. The first national idea is tolerance of the true faith plus 3. Second national idea is plus 22.5% national manpower modifier, and the third national idea is morale of armies plus 20%. So definitely, the longer Wasconia is left to just gather steam, gather power, the stronger they're going to be. Once they hit that plus 20% morale of armies mark, that's going to be serious trouble for anyone around them that's an enemy. However, there will be the Protestant Reformation to deal with, so I'm not sure how it's going to actually turn out. Let's see here. The next submission from Q9626 is the Basri Order. Right over here. The traditions of the Basri Order are national tax modifier plus 10% and administrative technology cost minus 10%. The first national idea is governing capacity plus 20%. The second national idea is tolerance of the true faith plus 2. And the third national idea is, attrition for enemies plus 1.5. So, very much focused on stability and keeping things cool and defending from outside invaders. Time will tell if they're able to, especially because Basra is in marsh, so it's a little bit harder to besiege it compared to like right up here at Wasit, which is farmlands. The third submission from Q9626 is Milvox. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this one right at all. I feel like I'm not. So please, if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, let me know. The traditions here are national tax modifier plus 15% and shock damage plus 20%. The first national idea is diplomatic annexation cost minus 15%. The second national idea is tolerance of the true faith plus 3. And the third national idea is morale of armies plus 20%. So, much like Wasconia, the more time they are given to just gather steam and unlock national ideas, the more and more scary Milvox becomes. And the last submission from Q9626 is the Golden Eighth. I have no idea what this is based off of, but, you know, I don't know. The traditions of the Golden Eighth are national tax modifier plus 10%. The first national idea is movement speed plus 20%. The second national idea is yearly inflation reduction plus 0.2. And the third national idea is reinforced speed plus 22.5%. And Golden Eighth is going to have a lot of time to just build up and gather momentum. Their first obstacle is going to be Shoshone. Who knows? Shoshone might ally with Arapaho or Pawnee. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Let's see who else. Let me just make sure that there was indeed no localization for those submissions. Let's see. Was there no? Oh, there's actually. Oh, no. Okay. Dwilji that was Dwilji. Okay. No localization. Okay. Yeah, there was no localization for these. Got it. What are we at? We're at 52 minutes about. Can we do... we have... Okay, I can do a Sekan submission, and I think I can do Pepsi's submissions. Yes, okay. We will finish off with Sekan and Pepsi. So Sekan did over here Hoyenshi. I have no idea what Hoyenshi is based off of, but... we'll find out, I guess. The traditions of Hoyenshi are land force limit plus 22.5%, and what's it called? They may also raid coasts. So no coast in North America is safe. Well, the eastern half of North America. The first national idea is Jaksa. The Jaksa are a caste of the Hoyenshin people, whom, having no other source of prosperity, resort to a life of plundering. Emerging from the swamps, they ransack entire counties, destroying whatever cannot be taken home, before vanishing into the marshes. Looting speed plus 30%. The second national idea is the Yanshan Swamps. The vast swamp surrounding the Bay of Wilunka has been deemed a harsh land for centuries of explorers and armies alike. The fact that our warriors know all too well the ins and outs of this swamp makes any invading troops meet a grisly end. Attrition for enemies plus 1.5. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see Hoyenshi go against Dwilji. The test run was very eventful with regards to those two. Let's see. We have Pepsi's submissions. However, it should be noted that all of Pepsi's submissions have the same national ideas. So, like right here, construction cost minus 20%, regiment cost minus 20%, and then infantry fire plus 1, advisor cost minus 20%, discipline plus 5%, and it all ends off with artillery fire plus 1. So we can check the others, they are pretty much all the same. Yep. Artillery fire, discipline, it's all there. And from what I was told, Pepsi is pretty much experimenting with what is a really good like meta national idea set. And to be fair, not degrading it or anything, these are very strong national ideas. Meta slaves, along with meta slavettes and meta slavers, very, very fucking strong from the very beginning. The fact that you have minus 20% construction cost and regiments costing minus 20% means that there's going to be a lot of buildings going up and there's going to be a lot of regiments being pumped out for cheap. So, I don't know. Whoever wins here is going to be fucking popping off, I gotta say. Are they going to pop off against Myeongvox? I don't know. But I'm very interested to see what happens between all of them. And their religion is Sunni, however they are a republic, so they don't have to worry about heirs. But I believe that is going to do it for this first part of the prologue. Lots of submissions, lots of fun, I would say fun localization, you know. Despite me having trouble pronouncing some of them, and despite some of them being rather odd, I would say, I enjoyed reading about all of them. So, in the next part of this prologue, we will be doing the submissions from Tuvi, Duck, Absolved Gravitas, Senor Mango, and Red Panda. Please stick around for those in part 2. I will see you then.